Hello everybody, Tougie here, back again with a quick little update video for you all regarding my podcast, the Tougies Take podcast. Now, obviously, I have a blank screen next to me. I'm here solo for the moment, but I needed to share some news with all of you, and I will preface this by saying that there will be no mudslinging in this video. I'm not really interested in any drama. I'm going to get straight to the point here. Moving forward, Deej is no longer going to be my co-host on the Tougies Take podcast. I have been asked to make a podcast for year after year. Let's be honest. It's been a long time, and this year finally felt like the right time to move ahead with the idea. And I asked Deej, as someone who was a friend of 4 years or so at that point, to be the one to work with me on that project. And yeah, unfortunately, that's over. Now, for the time that it lasted, I had a blast. I think what we created over the course of the majority of this year holds up as a fantastic bit of content. And I don't regret the decision to have picked Deej as my initial partner in this endeavor, despite the fact that here it is almost the beginning of October, and that is over. That said, it sounds like we're almost breaking up, but plans change. Individual goals and visions for what this show should be, could be, and what direction it's going in, those can change as time goes along, and we've hit that point. And unfortunately, it was very clear that this split was for the best. That said, the only negative thing that I am going to really put out there at this point in time is that despite creating the Tougies Take name all of 6 years ago, there could potentially be a scenario or a play to prevent me from using this name moving forward. And I will say if that is the case, then so be it. I will continue to make podcasts. The name doesn't really matter. Admittedly, I have a secondary name that I floated around using for a little bit, as well as like a graphics package for that as well. So we're good no matter what. I'll keep you up to date on that as frequently as I can. For those watching this, because I'm going to upload this on my main channel and the Tougies Take podcast YouTube channel as well, hopefully that podcast channel is not going anywhere unless, again, something happens regarding the name. There are links to the new Spotify and Apple podcast feeds in the description of wherever you're watching this video. If I put it up on Twitter, the link will be in response to those. Yes, that is something that I had to do, unfortunately, was create new feeds. But yeah, you'll be able to find those pretty much no problem. It'll be business as usual, just podcasts being uploaded on a different feed. I want to thank Deej for his time and effort in what was the opening chapter of this podcast history. And now we're on to a new chapter, which brings me to tomorrow's podcast. Of course, Tuesdays and Fridays are normally our podcast days. Tuesday's episode, of course, I had a guest on, one Mr. Alex Dunn. We talked about the Central Division. You can find that on the podcast YouTube channel and on those feeds. That first show is out there. And our original plan on Friday was to be our Atlantic Division preview. And our guest was going to be Endo Mills, who you're going to be very familiar with, of course, if you watch me on Twitch at all. Endo will no longer be the guest of that show tomorrow when we will be doing the Atlantic Division breakdown because Endo Mills is my new co-host. You know, I had a lot of options of who I wanted to do the show with. But if you guys have been watching on Twitch for the, nearly the past year or so, you'll know that Endo and I have become really good friends. We have a very interesting comedic dynamic, and I think it'll be very interesting to have Endo as the co-host of this show moving forward. So we will be recording that episode tomorrow, our Atlantic Division preview. A Leafs fan and a Bruins fan have a podcast together. What hijinks might we get into? I hope you guys check out the show, of course. If you don't, hey, it's all good. There is still, of course, the normal YouTube stuff on the main channel, being everything hockey related. The second channel, Tougie24, TWOGIE24, which again, if you've been wondering, where's Madden, where's FIFA, where's NBA, it's all over there. And if you haven't been aware of that channel, you have a lot to catch up on moving forward. Hope to see you guys all tomorrow in terms of the podcast there. My first with Endo Mills. And again, not a very fun video to have to make. But again, one more time, thank you to Deej for the work that he put in. Again, to the first 60 plus episodes of this podcast history. But as they say, the show must go on.